And Jack, where's Jack? Where's Jack? Where is he? Jack, I want to see you. Great job, Jack. Thank you. What a job you do. You know, we have an incredible thing. We're always talking about the fake news and the bad, but we have guys, and these are the guys who should be getting Pulitzers.
All right, Jack Posobiec, we are back live, Human Events, Daily, Real America's Voice, Phoenix, Arizona. Folks, freedom, it's never been free. And lately, we've been reminded of just how high the cost can be. Growing violence is meant to shake us, but it should only strengthen our resolve to never back down. That's why Patriot Mobile exists. For over 12 years, they've been defending faith, family, and freedom, while providing the same or better premium network access on all three major U.S. networks. Unlimited data, mobile hotspots, international roaming, they do it all. When you switch, you don't sacrifice quality or service. Hundreds of thousands have joined the movement by switching their cell service to Patriot Mobile. Now, every time they pay their bill, they're supporting the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the sanctity of life, and our veterans and first responders. Switching is easy. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their 100% U.S.-based customer support team can activate you in minutes on the phone. So call 972-PATRIOT or visit patriotmobile.com/POSO today. Use promo code POSO for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/POSO or call 972-PATRIOT and make the switch today. All right, very excited. We've got on now Turning Point Action. We've got our field rep here. Brett, what's going on, man?
Hey, Jack, I'm doing good. I'm back here in Wisconsin after spending the last couple days in Arizona.
I was gonna say from Wisconsin, but then I realized that, man, Tyler has you traveling so much. I realized I hadn't checked in to make sure where you were actually calling in from.
Yeah, I flew into O'Hare this morning and shot back up here to Wisconsin. I'm at our Wisconsin office. We had a victorious night last night at the Turning Point HQ in Phoenix. And so I'm riding that high right now, but definitely tired, but definitely celebrating some of the wins, some of the highlights of last night.
Well, no, I think that's interesting because obviously, most people are saying that, good night for Democrats in the blue states. They were able to keep the blue. And of course, Turning Point Action was hugely involved in New Jersey as well as in parts of Pennsylvania. But look, in these blue areas, they stayed blue. And these traditional Republicans weren't coming across. And the turnout, right? I think the turnout and the low prop voters in some of these areas, look, you've got to overcome just a massive Democrat registration advantage. And that's something you can't do it with just, with just the last couple of weeks. So it's a lot of lessons learned. But talk to me about this massive flip, because I've been seeing Tyler's been sending us article after article of this huge recall victory in Mesa, Arizona.
Yeah, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Last night was not a great night for Republicans nationwide, but the beacon of hope that I want to instill on the good conservatives listening right now is that Turning Point Action treated Mesa, Arizona like it was the center of the political universe for the last 6 months, because there is a woman named Julie Spilsbury, sits on the Mesa City Council, who is a Republican, in quotation marks, who co-chaired Republicans for Kamala Harris last year in the state of Arizona. Republicans for Kamala Harris paid for billboards. They put out text blasts. They had mailers circulating in Arizona. They could have been detrimental to the effort that so many hardworking people were doing to elect President Trump. And frankly speaking, knowing that President Trump's path to victory was only running through a handful of states, Arizona being the top one of that, someone like Julie Spilsbury could have been the reason that Trump lost in 2024. So our Turning Point Action team went full steam ahead this year in the effort to officially recall her, helping gather petition signatures in the spring, did that throughout the summer. And then for the last month, we had a big sprint to the finish line in physically chasing those ballots, putting together 24/7 infrastructure on the ground in Mesa District 2 to send that flare signal that we needed to send to the rest of the conservative movement, that fake Republicans like Julie Spilsbury are not welcome in the conservative movement. So we were able to successfully elect Doreen Taylor as the new Mesa City Councilwoman. But really the broader effects, this is something that could really, really be good.
Well, and Brett, And Brett, not only that, not only do we give Turning Point Action and your great efforts action, Julie Spilsbury herself gave credit to Turning Point Action. Guys, let's play that clip.
This election.
Look, Turning Point's huge. They're a national organization. They have a ton of money. They have a ton of volunteers. There were probably 30 volunteers at the polling place today. Tons of people were flown in from out of state. Lots of people told me that people knocked on their door that weren't even from Arizona. How do I fight that? How do I fight that? And the recall would never have been successful without Turning Point's employees, over 30 of them, out knocking doors that are not from Mesa.
Just kind of what message do you think this sends to the community of Mesa that you did have this organization, very powerful, a lot of money coming in and stepping in to a city election? I mean, we saw how many people were out there voting today. What kind of message do you think this sends to the community?
Yeah, look, people are always saying that they wish they had better candidates that would run for office. I don't think that's true, because when good people run for office just because I want to serve my community, and then this is what happens to me, why would anyone want to run when you have groups like Turning Point that can go out there and put up thousands of signs and send nasty emails and tell lies?
Wow. So, I mean, this is just amazing. So we're on with Greg Kalashofsky, and he's the National Enterprise Director for Turning Point Action. Brett, what is she? Is that true? Is the only thing that she did with her platform to just serve the community? Is that really what she was doing?
No, I think it's funny. She talks about how, like, I was removed because an outside group came in and started telling Mesa voters how their city should be run. And really the true answer is no, Julie, you were removed because you told your constituents you were a Republican, then ran Republicans for Kamala Harris, and then gave yourself a raise as a city councilwoman. So voters saw the writing on the wall. They were out in full force helping us on the ground. I think Julie's comments further prove, though, that we truly are a force to be reckoned with in the conservative movement, and accountability is a structural pillar point of ours.
And it's just amazing. It is amazing, because you got a situation like this where it, by the way, and this I think also shows writ large that with the Turning Point Action model, with that model of knocking on doors and going to people directly, it even, and by the way, even in a race like that came down to about, under 20,000 votes, it still took a sizable number of activists to come in. So if you want to scale that up for something like an entire state like New Jersey, entire state like Pennsylvania, it is going to simply take more bodies. Is it effective? Yes. Does it work? Yes, but only at scale. Do you get what I'm saying?
Totally. So what it is it moves away from the war of persuasion model. We don't need to be spending time and money talking with swing voters about how they should vote to recall Julie because she got involved with a presidential level type of Benedict Arnold behavior. That's not going to work. Our ballot chase model goes to people who we know are conservatives. They just don't value their vote, especially for a fall off year race, if there is such a thing. And we help them realize that, build a relationship with them, and then turn that relationship into a new vote. That's ballot chasing at its finest. And I think what last night really proved is that ballot chasing works, and that building a ground game heavily based on this concept of relational organizing is truly the new way to winning elections.
What is relational organizing? Explain that for us.
Well, it's the idea of not being a political operative, but being a good neighbor. And so it's really start to finish. It's building that relationship, and that might take multiple touches. So we had to, on the fly, train a lot of our volunteers and our paid staff at Turning Point Action to make contact with voters and then kind of massage it into them about the importance of voting. And then here's the key, and this is what really separates ballot chasing from just transactional door knocking. It's the very important follow-up. In the Republican apparatus, and I'm not just talking about the party, I'm talking about in the historical Republican apparatus, follow-up is not encouraged. Think about every door knocker that's ever been at your door. It's very issue-based. What issues do you care about most? And are you voting for so-and-so? No. Okay, I'm moving on to the next house. Our ballot chase model encourages them to say, hey, can I shoot you a text tomorrow just to make sure that you get your ballot in the box? Or, hey, can I help you fill out your ballot? We'll walk out to the mailbox together right now. It's doing those extra steps. I was giving people a ride to the polls yesterday to drop off their ballot. That's ballot chasing. facing. It moves away from that very, kind of one and done, one size fits all model, and it moves to a very human element type of political operative.
And this is so key, by the way. It's so key to actually building that out. And I have to imagine, by the way, when people see the Turning Point name, when they see Turning Point action, especially given the events of the last couple of months, it definitely creates a different environment than when somebody's just showing up with like a hard candidate name or something like that.
It does. And kind of the thing that really separates our universe of voters, meaning the pool of voters that we're knocking, is that we were only knocking on conservative voters. So we already had an icebreaker right off the bat.
So you've already got the icebreaker right there. Brett, sorry, apologies. They're telling me we're up against a hard break. Go give him a shot. Turning Point action. Huge victory over there in Mesa, Arizona. Not far from where I'm sitting right now. Right back, Human Events Daily.